Billy Budd, Chapter 17. Now, when the Ford topman found himself closeted, as it were, in the cabin with the captain and Claggart, he was surprised enough. But it was a surprise unaccompanied by apprehension or distrust. To an immature nature, earnestly honest and humane, forewarning imitations of subtler danger from one's kind came tardily, if at all. The only thing that took shape in the young sailor's mind was this: yes, the captain, I have always thought, looks kindly upon me. Wonder if he's going to make me his coxswain. I should like that. And maybe now he's going to ask the master-at-arms about me. Shut the door there, sentry, said the commander. Stand without and let nobody come in. Now, master-at-arms, tell this man to his face what you told of him to me, and stood prepared to scrutinize the mutually confronting visages. With the measured step and calm, collected air of an asylum physician approaching in the public hall some patient beginning to show indications of coming paroxysm, Claggart deliberately advanced within short range of Billy, and, mesmerically looking him in the eye, briefly recapitulated the accusation. Not at first did Billy take it in. When he did, the rose tan of his cheek looked struck as by white leprosy. He stood like one impaled and gagged. Meanwhile, the accuser's eyes, removing not as yet from the blue dilated ones, underwent a phenomenal change, their wonted rich violet color blurring into a muddy purple. Those lights of human intelligence, losing human expression, galledly protruding like the alien eyes of certain uncatalogued creatures of the deep. The first mesmeric glance was one of surprised fascination. The last was as the hungry lurch of the torpedo fish. Speak, man, said Captain Vere to the transfixed one, struck by his aspect even more than by Claggart's. Speak, defend yourself. Which appeal caused but a strange, dumb gesturing and gurgling in Billy. Amazement at such an accusation so suddenly sprung on inexperienced non-age. This, and it may be horror at the accuser, serving to bring out his lurking defect, and in this instance, for the time, intensifying it into a convulsed tongue-tide. While the intent head in entire form, straining forward in an agony of ineffectual eagerness to obey the injunction to speak and defend himself, gave an expression to the face like that of condemned bestial priestesses in the moment of being buried alive, and in the first struggle against suffocation. Though at the time Captain Vere was quite ignorant of Billy's liability to vocal impediment, he now immediately divined it, since vividly Billy's aspect recalled to him that of a bright young schoolmate of his whom he had seen struck by much the same startling impotence in the act of eagerly rising in the class to be foremost in response to a testing question put to it by the master. Going close up to the young sailor and laying a soothing hand on his shoulder, he said, "There's no hurry, my boy. Take your time. Take your time." Contrary to the effect intended, these words, so fatherly in tone, doubtless touching Billy's heart in the quick, prompted yet more violent efforts at utterance. Efforts soon ending for the time in confirming the paralysis and bringing to the face an expression which was as a crucifix to behold. The next instant, quick as the flame from a discharged cannon at night, his right arm shot out and Claggart dropped to the deck. Whether intentionally or but owing to the young athlete's superior height, the blow had taken effect full upon the forehead, so shapely and intellectual looking a feature in the master-at-arms, so that the body fell over lengthwise like a heavy plank tilted from erectness. A gasp or two, and he lay motionless. "Faded, boy," breathed Captain Vere in a tone so low as to be almost a whisper. "What have you done? But here, help me." The twain raised the felled one from the loins up into a sitting position. The spare form flexibly acquiesced, but inertly. It was like handling a dead snake. They lowered it back. Regaining erectness, Captain Vere, with one hand covering his face, stood to all appearance as impassive as the object at his feet. Was he absorbed in taking in all the bearings of the event, and what was best not only now, at once, to be done, but also in the sequel? Slowly he uncovered his face, and the effect was as if the moon, emerging from eclipse, should reappear with quite another aspect than that which had gone into hiding. The father in him, manifested towards Billy thus far in the scene, was replaced by the military disciplinarian. In his official tone, he bade the foretopman retire to a stateroom aft, pointing it out, and there remain till thence summoned. This order Billy in silence mechanically obeyed. Then, going to the cabin door where it opened on the quarterdeck, Captain Vere said to the sentry without, "Tell somebody to send Albert here." When the lad appeared, his master so contrived it that he should not catch sight of the prone one. "Albert," he said to him, "tell the surgeon I wish to see him. You need not come back till called." When the surgeon entered, a self-poised character of that grave sense and experience that hardly anything could take him aback, Captain Vere advanced to meet him, thus unconsciously interrupting his view of Claggart, and interrupting the other's wonted unceremonious salutation, said, "Nay, tell me how it is with yonder man," directing his attention to the prostrate one. The surgeon looked, and for all his self-command, somewhat startled at the abrupt revelation. On Claggart's always pallid complexion, thick black blood was now oozing from mouth and ear. To the gazer's professional eyes, it was unmistakably no living man that he saw. "Is it so, then?" said Captain Vere, intently watching him. "I thought it, but verify it." Whereupon the customary test confirmed the surgeon's first glance, who now, looking up in unfeigned concern, cast a look of intense inquisitiveness upon his superior. But Captain Vere, with one hand on his brow, was standing motionless. Suddenly, catching the surgeon's arm convulsively, he exclaimed, pointing down to the body, "It is the divine judgment of Ananias. Look!" Disturbed by the excited manner he had never before observed in the Indomitable's captain, and as yet wholly ignorant of the affair, the prudent surgeon nevertheless held his peace, only again looking in earnest interrogation as to what it was that had resulted in such a tragedy. But Captain Vere was now again motionless, standing absorbed in thought. But again starting, he vehemently exclaimed, "Struck dead by an angel of God! Yet the angel must hang." At these interjections, incoherences to the listener as yet unapprised of the antecedent events, the surgeon was profoundly discomforted. But now, as recollecting himself, Captain Vere in less harsh tone briefly related the circumstances leading up to the event. "But come, we must dispatch," he added. "Help me to remove him," meaning the body, "to yonder compartment," designating one opposite where the foretopman remained immured. Anew disturbed by a request that was implying a desire for secrecy, seemed unaccountably strange to him. There was nothing for the subordinate to do but comply. "Go now," said Captain Vere with something of his wonted manner. "Go now. I shall presently call a drumhead court. Tell the lieutenants what has happened, and tell Mr. Morton," meaning the captain of Marines, "and charge them to keep the matter to themselves." Full of disquietude and misgivings, the surgeon left the cabin. Was Captain Vere suddenly affected in his mind, or was it but a transient excitement brought about by so strange and extraordinary a happening? As to the drumhead court, it struck the surgeon as impolitic, if nothing more. The thing to do, he thought, was to place Billy Budd in confinement, and in a way dictated by usage, and postpone further action in so extraordinary a case to such time as they should again join the squadron, and then transfer it to the admiral. He recalled the unwonted agitation of Captain Vere and his excited exclamations, so at variance with his normal manner. Was he unhinged? But assuming that he was, it was not so susceptible of proof. What then could he do? No more trying situation is conceivable than that of an officer subordinated under a captain whom he suspects to be not mad indeed, but yet not quite unaffected in his intellect. To argue his order would be insolence. To resist him would be mutiny. In obedience to Captain Vere, he communicated to the lieutenants and captain of Marines what had happened, saying nothing more as to the captain's state. They stared at him in surprise and concern. Like him, they seemed to think that such a matter should be reported to the admiral. Who in the rainbow can draw the line where violet tent ends and orange tent begins? Distinctly, we see the difference of color, but where exactly does the first one visibly enter into the other? So with sanity and insanity. In pronounced cases, there is no question about them. But in some cases, in various degrees supposedly less pronounced, to draw the line of demarcation few will undertake, though for a fee some professional experts will. There is nothing nameable but that some men will undertake to do for pay. In other words, there are instances where it is next to impossible to determine whether a man is sane or beginning to be otherwise. Whether Captain Vere, as the surgeon professionally surmised, was really the sudden victim of any degree of aberration, one must determine for himself by such light as this narrative may afford. And we'll continue with Chapter 18 in the next video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Love you guys. As Tigger says, ta-ta for now.